No love, it makes sense. Carefree.
Hello. Peace. It is your girl, Asha Sawu, aka It's Brinkley, but it's Brinkley Nicole. And today I'm gonna talk, but I also have noticed like I have so many musical friends. I mean, I'm a dancer. I love to dance. I love music, and I like to play the drums, the djembe, and I just grew up around music, as we all did. But like, I'm just speaking from my perspective. But I wanted to learn to play this because my best friend, like my sister, she taught herself how to play a long time ago, and she could sing. And I remember just like, I used to love watching her practice. I used to love hearing her practice. Like, it was cool, and she taught herself, and she's really good. Like, to me, it sounds good. And then since I've been here in Costa Rica, I've met many people who play the guitar, and I want to try. So I think this is going to be like something for myself, like, because it feels like good. I don't know what I'm doing. Literally, no idea. But it feels fun. So yeah, I'm talking today. Today I'm going to be talking about my movements at physical locations since I was 20. I can strum, but I don't know the keys and that. I think it's called strumming. Whatever. Yeah, I'm gonna get here and talk today about the ebbs and flows of movement, the harmony, what it's done for me physically, mentally, spiritually, and how it's allowed me to unravel in myself, and how that is happening outside of me. Also with the challenges, because it was hard as fuck. Yeah. You try to, it's like we have these desires, and they come with a certain way that it should look. And I feel like ever since I was 20, I always had a desire to move from like my hometown and my first goal was California. All the other places were not really goals, it was more calling, but either way, I noticed that what I was feeling was beyond desire. It was beyond desire. Desire really had nothing to do with it, but I felt like desire was like a leading force. And how I attached to those desires started to transform to where I just said I'm following my spirit. And my spirit is my desire. And what I've learned that feels good to me, and how I'm going to choose my resting, well, I don't want to say my resting place, but like my home, like where I'll plant my foundation, where I'll build my foundation and watch it grow, you know? I do know Costa Rica, which is where I am currently, is my home. I love it here, like, have traveled all around Costa Rica and have lived in many areas, or I've been to a lot of areas, but I've lived mainly in two. But I've like right now I'm in Puerto Viejo for a month, but I stayed the longest in Puerto Jimenez and Samara. I be feeling like I be saying it wrong, but I be trying to practice my pronunciation. I have trouble speaking in English, with pronouncing stuff. I'm from the South, so I'd rather make it a song, singing, shorten the words. But when you're learning to articulate and to even find a different dialect of your own tongue, I perceive it to be best to practice it how it normally sounds. And then when I get comfortable in it, I probably add my own little twang to it. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about that today. But I'm going to play with this because I'm not really practicing because I don't know what the frick I'm doing. I did learn a couple chords from some friends along the way, but I don't know what they are. I just remember what they look like when I look at the thing, and then how it sounds. I am not cutting my nails. This ain't even my guitar. It's my friend's guitar. So it's not like I'll be playing it. I'll be playing it for the rest of the month, but maybe I might decide to cut my nails. Who knows? But I like my nails. I like this long. It's pretty strong right now. Anyway, so you might hear a little. Okay, I thought it was gonna mess up, but either way, I just want to play this for a bit before I go into it. Because I also noticed that it really attunes your heart space, having the guitar on your body, feeling the vibrations of the guitar and hearing them. I see why niggas do it. I'ma keep doing it too all day, and I can see. I'm just happy to become really good, and I am. Last night I went to sleep kind of heavy, but in so many different ways. I was inspired and grieving for many reasons. A lot of people in my hometown that I know are transitioning or have someone close to them transitioning. The world is strange. My love life is child. It's something sweet. Love life when it comes to other people, in many forms, in all forms. It's been a journey, but I was able to talk to my friend and even talk to my ex about current space that I'm in, and it's really nice. So that's why it was inspiring, but also just grieving familial, like my family. Got some shit that I have to move past, and I just think about like I don't want to call it tragedies, but like you have to forgive somebody for doing some shit that you really don't fuck with. Like, makes me angry. I get really angry, and if I don't learn, if I haven't learned anything, is that if I hold on to it for over too long, I become bitter, sour, and yeah, I don't got time for that no more. Like, but I also honor my feelings, and I always trust my process. Like, yeah, last night I woke up kind of. I mean, I actually went to sleep late as heck, and I'm used to go to bed like, baby, it get dark here at 5:30, and I need pitch black, no street lights attached, basically. I mean, it'd be lights around, but I be knocked out around like I be getting to bed around no later than 7, and I might do something until about 7:30, 8, 9 at the latest, and I be out, and I wake up early. But since I've been here, I've been going to sleep pretty decent, like 9, 10. But the past 2 nights, babe, last night I don't think I went to bed till 2. I'm like, and that was just because I needed to just sit in the dark and feel my feels and look at what was in front of me. But then this rising, I woke up in good spirit. Honestly, I feel really good. I'm still processing, of course, but not in the same way. Like, I feel like I feel inspired to create. I'm in the space of making some really cool things. I was gonna tell what, but I don't think it's time yet. So, yeah. That's Blanca. Shout out to Blanca. I hear that tune from her, but I mean, it's not the right tune, but I can insert a clip because I have a video of me dancing to that, and it was like medicine, man. Sheesh. So where do I start? Because I'm already 13 minutes in. I don't know how that happened. But this is nice. I like this. I like this guitar. I like to play the guitar, even though I don't know what I'm doing. Well, yeah, I have been moving. First, it started out. Okay, who am I? I think I already told you my name. Masha. I call myself a movement guy, but not as an identity, as a for myself, because I really actually don't. How because I don't want it to come off like cliche. Like when it comes to like the expression of myself, I don't like labels, but I am a woman, and I am proud to be who I am. So, and my name is Asha, so I have labels, but they are not like a finite expression of me. Like I do so much. I love to paint. I love to draw. I love to dance. I love to sing. You know, I'm not a great singer, but I do love to sing. I love the space that I'm in. I don't know. I just like to move. I'm a mover. And everything that consists with movement and every form of expression of it, count me in, my boy. Yeah. So, anyway. When I turned 20, I moved for the first time. I moved in July of 2020, 2011, because I was 21. No, I turned 21 that year, so yeah, I moved in, and the reason for that move was for me to get to California. I was supposed to move to California first, then the plans fell through from where I was going to stay, and my cousin and his wife lovingly opened up their space to me at that age. Oh God, thank you so much, Ryder Parker, because I know I was so different. I was in a totally different space. Was amazing. What is that? Y'all, if there's a snake up there, I'm gonna cry. I think it might have just been something that fell out of the tree. There's nothing, Lou. We're going walking soon too, but not right now. I gotta finish this video. Okay? Lucia's the dog I'm dog sitting. I'll show y'all later. But yeah, so yeah, they let me stay there, and I was going to school. My plan was to go to school in California, but they were gonna let me like kind of bridge my way there, and things fell through, and I moved back home around the time my great grandmother transitioned, and I really didn't move to in a conscious level of what I'm going to eventually say about like my expansion, my growth, me witnessing myself and feeling out all the different terrains and environments that work with me. I've honestly loved every place I've ever lived. Even my hometown, like when I was a kid, I left it. Like I wasn't looking for nothing else. But every place that I've been, like, has been very magical and helped me remember the foundation of myself in so many different ways. When I moved to Arizona, I met some really beautiful people. Anisha and Brittany like really took me in. And I'm so grateful for them because I was so I'm not a conservative person, but I was, what's it called when your parents kind of have like we were allowed to do stuff, but they had a lot of boundaries, which was, I respect, but either way, they opened me up to sing. I just turned 21, first of all. I think I had maybe hit the blunt or something with them like a couple times for the first time ever. I didn't smoke weed when I was at home, and I didn't drink until I was 21. And yeah, so I just kind of had like a later start, but I was wild once I got out there, okay? But I feel like that just opened me up to experiencing things beyond what I was used to. And seeing people, and I mean, back then I feel like I was definitely judging. I knew I was judging, but not my friends, but just others who were different than me. And not that I necessarily felt like it was like a better than or less than thing, or maybe it was because it was like, oh, I couldn't do that. I'm a child of God. but more so just seeing people for who they were and how I also benefit from them being themselves, because I benefited so much from just hanging with Brittany and Anisha. We used to go out all the time though. Like we used to go to the clubs in Tempe, and they used to call me NC because your girl always was tense. It was in the middle of the body like, what's goody? What's goody? Hey, it was lit. And Brittany had this orange. It was like I think it was like a Nissan, the Z one, but it was a 2-door. And I would get in the back. Her and Anisha be in the front. The windows was down, and the song that like take me back there is the early in the morning, dun, 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 champagne and Chardonnay, and just let the song play the long way. It was lit. So, Lou, afuera. No, go. She be wanting me to rub her 24/7, okay? And no. But yeah, I said this to say, I feel like that is what opened me up to seeing like, oh, there is so much more outside of North Carolina that's different, and I like this. It was so different. Like, I feel like every place I moved, I grew more into myself. And so after my grandmom transitioned and stuff happened with the school, it was that I ended up getting in, but I couldn't go because of money, and I had to still wait until like January, and my cousin and them, I think they had just got pregnant again or something like that. I don't know, but I had to go. So I went back home. I was sad about it. I was like, I don't want to go back home. I was trying to go to California. I'm going back to the East. What's really happening? But it was purpose, man. Because I went back home. My sister was going to Central. My little sister, my ace, she was going to Central, and I went back home. We got back home at the same time, and she wanted to go to UNC Charlotte. And I remember my cousin, La Faye, she had asked me one time, she was like, Bray, why don't you go to the Art Institute in Charlotte? I know it's not the school in California, but it's still art school. And my sister wanted to go there, so I'm like, shoot, we can get an apartment together. Because I don't, like, the school that I went to, they had, like, school apartments, but you still had to pay for it. And my sister, she didn't want to stay on campus either, so we ended up applying for an apartment, getting it, and that also came with a challenge. I feel like my greatest challenge and growth pot in Charlotte, because we moved to Charlotte, because she went to Charlotte, and I'm a star to Charlotte, was responsibility, taking responsibility for my whole self. And no, I didn't learn, like when I first got there, that's not what I learned, but hindsight, that's what it was. It was a chamber of responsibility. And I feel like in creating the foundation that you see for yourself and feel and remember within yourself, there has to be a certain level of responsibility and accountability that takes on, because back then, your girl was I am a very focused person. So when I work, I work. But if I ain't working, I ain't focused on that, you know? So I went up and down financially, up and down. Of course, I was in school. I was in, how old was I think I was like 22. Yeah, when I moved there, I had just turned 22. And the following year, I was turning 23. So moved there when I was 22. And I had a lot of stuff happen where I ain't ready to share this to open yet, but I had, actually I don't, yeah, I'm not doing that because I gotta honor what I feel. But yeah, so I had something to happen that kind of took a toll on me when I was 22, and I was like, I gotta get my life together. But I really was baby stepping it in because at the time I viewed like going out and how I was going out drinking, having sex, but yeah, but I was out there lit, drunk, blacking out drunk, losing my phone at Perm Buster at my cousin Nene's school, like, and then I was just like, no, at the time, let me get my life together. And for me, that was religion, going to church. But I knew I didn't want to go to a church like I grew up in, even though I'm good with the church that I grew up in because it was like live, the music was lit. I had fun, and I actually really did enjoy going to church. I love the communion. I love the worship. I loved it all. So, but I wanted the new age experience. So I went to this church. I don't want to name it, but I went to this church in Charlotte that was a mega church, and it had locations on the north, south, east, west. Which one is gonna hit the rest? Okay. So I ended up going to the church a little bit, still out there, but going every once in a while on a Sunday when I felt called to go, you know. But it wasn't until me and my sister moved to another part of town where I went to the same church but at a different location, and it was more black people. So I felt more like I could integrate more. So I started going to these small group sessions for like Bible study, and they became like my family for real, like my brothers and my sisters, and I felt very safe with them. Like I did. And yeah, I stopped drinking, I stopped cussing, I stopped having sex for 3 years. Actually, more than that. I only say 3 years because, hold on, I was like 24, 25, oh, yeah, it was 3 years. So I stopped doing all of that for 3 years, and I was really focused on like my relationship with God, my religion. And it got to a point where this is where like my spiritual awareness was transformed and renewed. And it happened after I was in one small group, and then a smaller group of us had a different sight of how church should be and how religion should be. So we were like these Acts 22 cult-like beings. We met up every day, and they were like my family too. Like that was my family for a bit, and it just got to a point where I was like starting to study astrology, starting to see things differently, and so eventually, through challenges in relationship, my Saturn is in the 7th house in Capricorn. So relationships have been a high space of growth. I was listening to that sound because I don't know what the hell is up there, but it's something. It just ain't stay up there. But yeah, so I knew for me that it was my spirit was calling for break open, be free. And I was like, all right, mommy, what's happening? So when I was working, so me and my sister, we lived together for about 7 years and 6 years in Charlotte, because then I went and got my own apartment. And when I got my own apartment, that's when I really, really, like, I went vegan. I had this episode of like panic attacks. Like, and I feel like that's when what people call shadow work, when I really started getting deep into like my karma, my spirituality, my identity in the physical, my identity in the spiritual, and how it was not integrated by any means necessary, but it was the puzzle pieces just started to pop up in my world, and it all needed focus. And so like I feel like that the panic attack happened because I felt like I was moving fast. I move fast in my journey, but it's still slow. It's a beautiful, timeless thing. I'm doing yoga. It's really like I'm into astrology back then, like studying 4 hours a day, learning. And I always heard spiritually or energetically or however you want to. The small still voice was activated early on, but it became really loud actually when I was in the first small group, when I went to the second location of that church and I was doing the Bible study. But the first group, that's when like my gifts started to activate. I started to see things, and Christianity to me is very much hoodoo. It's very much, especially when it comes, well, only usually when it comes from us, but I witnessed it growing up, but I just always equated it to Christianity. And although if that is the focus for the people who do it that way, cool. But all is aligned. So my gifts started coming on, and when I was like on my own journey, I got reprimanded so badly by my family. Like my grandma came up to me one night when I was staying at my parents' house, and she came and she was like, I had a dream and y'all was going to hell. And I was like, so it was tough because back then especially my identity was 100% regulated by others, and although I was still rebelling and trying to stand firm in myself, like it still broke my heart. It was still a challenge. It was still emotional. It was freaking it really was. So yeah, after that though, after I moved in by myself and had the episodes of really being a light body and my not being inside of my body, but being so much in this other world, spiritual psychosis, literally the whole nine. I regathered myself, and eventually I went back home to New Bern. I stayed with my parents after I got sick for a couple, like, it was really dehydration, and then the doctor tried to tell me I had, like, I was, what's it called, disassociating? But I really wasn't, and that I knew. Like, when you tell me something that I know for certain is not what's happening, I just won't accept it. But it was really because I was dehydrated, because I would have, like, these spells where I would stand up really fast and I would get really dizzy. And, yeah. That was a whole thing at the doctor's office. And then my dad, I cussed the whole doctor out in front of my daddy. Because, what are you talking about, sir? To figure out what else is happening. Because that ain't it. And so, I moved back with my parents. Still had some trouble with my parents because we believe two totally different things. And back then, when you're so, like, when I was so new into what spirituality was in a different way, I was like, Christians? And they were like, who are you? Like, are you the devil? And I'm like, I'm not the devil. My heart is good. I just don't believe how you believe, and I don't resonate with it, and I don't agree with it. Child. So that happened, and I did start to, I still was going on in my path. Like, if you followed me on Instagram back then, you've seen the journey. And then I moved back because I moved back to Charlotte because my sister was still there. And I went and stayed with her. And I felt this call one day randomly. No, this is how it happened. So one day I'm scrolling through not TikTok, Instagram, and I come across this girl that I was following at the time. She had posted about her subleasing her apartment in Chicago. Mind you, I ain't never thought about Chicago. Chicago has always been the furthest thing from my mind as far as living. I honestly was comfortable with Charlotte. Like, I love Charlotte. Like, I had a lot of fun. I grew a lot, met a lot of amazing people, and also fell out with a lot of amazing people. And yeah, so I seen it, and it just went by. Like, I just looked at it. I was like, okay, whatever. She's subleasing her apartment. I just saw the story, and not too far after, maybe like 2 weeks, I heard to go move to Chicago. I don't know nobody in Chicago. I don't got a family member, a friend, or nothing in Chicago. And I'm like, and it's cold. I don't like being cold. I was anemic. And so I was like, go to Chicago. I didn't have a job at the time, but I was like, hey, I'm with it though. Like, let's see what it's like. So I remembered that the girl posted that about her space being for sublease for, I think it was like 6 to 8 months. I'm not for sure. And I was like, okay, cool. Let me hit her up. I can only get a yay or a nay. And I thought maybe, because she had a lot of following, I was like, maybe the apartment's already gone. But I was just going to try anyway. So I hit her up. We got on a phone call. It felt aligned for the both of us. But I didn't have no damn job. I was like, I'm going to do this. So I ended up getting a job at one of my favorite taco spots in Charlotte, Bakersfield. And I worked there for only a month and made hella money. Like, I was manifesting money like nobody's business, quickly. And it was easy. I really enjoyed the job. Like, and then I got a work from home job right as I was about to move to Chicago. I think I moved on like November 1st or 3rd, between those times of 2018. And Chicago was like the opening of my heart. I feel like my friend Pandamanda, she like planted a seed for my heart to open like a long time ago. I remember, because that was my ace. Like, she had asked me one time I was over her house. She was like, you never told me you loved me. And I was like, in my heart, I was like offended. Because, girl, you know I love you. I didn't realize that I didn't say I love you, but I also, that wasn't a natural part of my language growing up. So the way that I show love is by being there, by like, you know. But she wasn't saying that she didn't think that I loved her. She just said, you never said it. And I was like, you're right. So I feel like that was a seed planted. But when I got to Chicago, the people that I met and the experiences that I had were otherworldly. Like, when it came to love, like, that is my heart opening. So I feel like every place that I've lived has served in the growth of myself, in the sinking into my heart and allowing it to be expressed, and so that I can create the foundation that I have desired through spirit for me. But I had to really like drop weight off and open up new paths for myself to see in that way. So yeah, Chicago was beautiful. I stayed there 8 months. Me and one of my really good friends, Bree, we started a business together, and that was it was also very creative in Chicago for me. Like, that was when I really realized that I'm creative as hell. Me and Bree would get on calls, and we would write poems together. We would put each other on hold, be like, okay, we got 5 minutes, like, let's do this, let's do that, and we'll come back up there. And honestly, I'm so grateful for Bree too, because she helped steer, like, or ground me in my power and my confidence and who I am and my creativity, and just to have that support and for me to see her, because she is phenomenal. She can sing, she has an amazing writer, like, she's beautiful, like, she's just, I love her, like. So it was just really good to be able to be in Chicago and have that space. Although Chicago was cold as fuck, I did not like the cold. I did not like the cold one bit. But I love being in Chicago. Like, the energy there. Although it was like, I moved in winter. I moved in November, so I experienced mad winter. The people were lovely. Like, I was driving Lyft. Like, I had to work from home job, but customer service over the phone is draining. And so I started doing Lyft. And when I started doing Lyft, I met so many different people. Like, I love the expansion and the perspective shift that happens from just listening to people and hearing people's story and seeing how they live. And, you know, I just had really good, like, I love Chicago. It was a beautiful city, but I remember driving around and doing Lyft. One day I was in, like, the center of the city, and Chicago has buildings everywhere. It was like no nature. And I'm from North Carolina, so I'm used to being in nature in some way. Like, there's mad trees, and when I was a kid, I was all through the woods. I was climbing trees with my niece, still to this day. So that was starting to bother me. And I remember saying, like, I just feel blocked here. Like, I love it here, but it's something that was blocking me. So after me and Bree had our event together and we did a business together, like, we really got our LLC and everything, I just felt like I needed to drop everything. Like, and I'm still, like, moving kind of funny because I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm in and out of jobs, in and out of houses that ain't mine, and I'm like, but I feel to keep going. And it just felt crazy. Everybody looking at me crazy, talking about me crazy, calling me crazy, because I might have been crazy. And yeah, I eventually go back to North Carolina. I give me a little boo, and I'm like between Charlotte and my hometown, and that got taxing. And I ended up getting a job in my hometown that I did not like, and then I ended up having a breakup or a separation or whatever you want to call it. And I just got really silly, sad. I couldn't really do nothing, and that was 2020, basically by this time. And so the pandemic happened, so I was able to process